All right, thank you. So I have an AOK award. I want to call up Mr. Skylar Fine. Come on up here. All right. So I'm going to read it, okay? And I remember from the other day, you called me the big guy. I like that. That was nice. All right. So Skylar assisted in and somebody helped me out with the care of a student who got sick on the bus on the way to school. He made sure the student stayed safe until his mother arrived to take him home. He did the above without being asked and showed empathy and thoughtfulness for his fellow student. All right, and this is awesome. I love it. Very nice job. All right, congratulations. All right. And I also have a couple other AOK awards. I don't think anybody else is here, but I'd like to recognize Pierce Wyatt, Dominic Ferlippa, Vince Marchesen, and Maya Davis. I will give them their awards at the junior senior high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conklin.
Thank
Mr. Carpentieri, you have a couple?
Not here present, so I'll give them at school tomorrow.
Very good. At this point, we will go on to adopting the bond resolution, general obligations. Caleb, you're going to read that?
Yes, okay.
Good luck.
Well, I think you have to do the first part, because somebody needs to do the motion and second it. And then I'll read the
Meeting
whole.
of the Board of Education of the Eldred Central School District, New York, held at the district offices in Eldred, New York on the 12th day of January 2023. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Motion by Nancy, second by Kristen.
Okay. Bond resolution dated January 12, 2023 of the Board of Education of the Eldred Central School District authorizing general obligation bonds to finance certain capital improvements consisting of construction and reconstruction of school buildings and facilities, authorizing the issuance of bond anticipation notes and contemplation thereof, the levy of taxes and annual installments and payment thereof, the expenditure of such sums for such purpose, and determining other matters in connection therewith.
Stop right there. If whoever got the AOK awards, if you guys don't want to stay here and be bored all night, you feel free to leave.
This is a particularly long one.
More than welcome to, giving you the option. Carry on. Sorry.
Whereas the qualified voters of the Eldred Central School District, New York, at special meeting of such voters duly held on December 6, 2022, duly approved a proposition authorizing the levy of taxes to be collected in installments in the manner provided by the education law for the class of objects or purpose hereinafter described. And whereas the Board of Education, acting as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act and the applicable regulations promulgated thereunder, SECRA, has completed its environmental review and on October 13, 2022, has duly adopted a negative declaration and has determined that the implementation of unlisted action as proposed will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Now therefore be it resolved by the favorable vote of not less than 2/3 of all the members of such Board of Education as follows. Section 1, the Eldred Central School District shall undertake certain capital improvements to the school district's existing school buildings and facilities as more particularly described in Section 3 hereof and as generally outlined to and considered by the voters of the school district at special voter meeting on December 6, 2022. Section 2, the Eldred Central School District hereby authorized to issue its general obligation serial bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $11,165,000 pursuant to the local finance law of New York in order to finance the class of objects or purposes described herein, and such amount is hereby appropriated therefore. Section 3, the class of objects or purposes to be financed pursuant to this resolution, hereinafter referred to as the purpose, is certain capital improvements consisting of construction and reconstruction of existing school buildings and facilities within the school district. Each such building being a Class A, fireproof and certain fire-resistant building, as defined in subdivision 11 of paragraph A of section 11 of said local finance law. Various site and athletic field improvements and the acquisition of certain original furnishings, equipment, and apparatus, and other incidental improvements required in connection therewith for such construction and school use. Section 4, it is hereby determined and declared that A, the aggregate maximum cost of said purposes estimated by the Board of Education is $12,730,000, and B, the Eldred Central School District's plan to finance the cost of said purposes, I, to provide $1,565,000 from existing capital reserve funds for such cost, and 2, to provide up to $11,165,000 from funds raised by the issuance of said bonds, and the bond anticipation notes hereinafter referred to. And C, no money has heretofore been authorized to be applied to the payment of the cost of said purposes. Section 5, it is hereby determined that the purposes of one class of objects or purpose described in subdivision 97 of paragraph A of section 11 of local finance law, and that the period of probable usefulness of said purposes is 30 years. Section 6, the Eldred Central School District is hereby authorized to issue its bond anticipation notes and the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $11,165,000, and is hereby authorized to issue renewals thereof pursuant to the local finance law of New York in order to finance the purpose and anticipation of the issuance of the above described bonds. Section 7, it is hereby determined and declared that A, there are presently no outstanding bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the sale of said bonds. B, that bond anticipation notes authorized hereby shall mature within 1 year of the date of issuance thereof, or such longer term as may be desired in accordance with the provision of the local finance law. C, the bond anticipation notes authorized hereby are not issued in anticipation for bonds for an accessible improvement. And D, current funds will be provided prior to the issuance of the bonds or bond anticipation notes herein authorized, to the extent, if any, required by section 107 of the local finance law. Section 8, it is hereby determined and declared that the Eldred Central School District reasonably expects to reimburse the general fund or such other fund as may be utilized not to exceed the maximum amount authorized herein from the proceeds of the obligations authorized hereby for expenditures, if any, from such fund that may be made for the purpose prior to the date of issuance of such obligations. This is a declaration of official intent under Treasury Regulation 1.150-2. Section 9, the faith and credit of the Eldred Central School District, New York are hereby irrevocably pledged for the payment of the principal of and interest on such bonds and bond anticipation notes as the same respectively become due and payable. An annual appropriation shall be made in each year sufficient to pay the principal and interest on such bond obligations becoming due and payable in such year. There shall annually be levied on all taxable real property of said school district a tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on such obligations as the same become due and payable. Section 10, the power to further authorize the sale and issuance of said bonds and bond anticipation notes and to prescribe the terms, form, and contents of said bond and bond anticipation notes, subject to the provisions of this resolution in the local finance law of New York, including without limitation the authority to determine whether to accept bids electronically to the extent allowed by the local finance law, the consolidation with other issues, the determination to issue bonds with substantially level or declining annual debt service, all contracts for and determinations with respect to credit or liquidity enhancements, if any, and to sell, issue, and deliver said bonds and bond anticipation notes, subject to the provisions of this resolution and local finance law, is hereby delegated to the President of the Board of Education or to the Vice President of the Board in the event of absence or unavailability of the President. The President of the Board of Education, Vice President, and the District Clerk are hereby authorized to sign by manual or facsimile signature any bonds and bond anticipation notes issued pursuant to this resolution, and are hereby authorized to affix such bonds and bond anticipation notes issued pursuant to this resolution are hereby authorized to fix such bond and bond anticipation notes to the corporate seal of the school district and to attest to the same. The President of the Board of Education is additionally authorized, but not required, to execute and deliver a financing agreement with the dormitory authority of the state of New York and any other agreements and documents necessary to accomplish financing, as well may be determined in the discretion of the President of the Board of Education. Section 11, this resolution or summary hereof shall be published in full by the district clerk of the school district together with a notice and substantially the form prescribed by section 81 said local finance law, and such publication shall be in each official newspaper of the school district. The validity of said bonds and bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the sale of bonds may be contested only if such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which said school district is not authorized to expend money, or the provisions of law which should be complied with at the date of publication of this resolution are not substantially complied with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication, or if said obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 12, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption, duly put to vote as follows.
Everybody still awake?
I tried to get through that as quick as I could.
Thank you, by the way. It's to be here till midnight if I read it. At this time, I'll take the motion on the bond resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Nancy, second.
I'll second.
Amador, second. Vote, Nancy.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Amador?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, all yeses. It's passed. Phew, thank God.
All right, that's it.
That's going to be big for Eldred, let me tell you. That one's going to be very good when it's all done. Superintendent report. Mrs. Ferreira.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you again to the public, to the board for supporting this capital bond project. I think I'm so excited, and now that we also have an athletic coordinator, I'm initially even more excited because Amanda Zagrodik, who is here with us tonight, so I do want to formally introduce her. She's going to be our new PE teacher. and athletic coordinator, and she has extensive knowledge in athletics, in track, because she comes from a track family, so we are definitely going to make sure that track is done correctly. But I do want to say, the first project will be at George Ross McKenzie coming from this bond, and that is the oil tank project. And because it's at the end of its life, that will be done this summer. We did have a meeting today, and it was on the libraries and makerspace. It was a design stakeholders meeting. It was virtual and in person. We had about 15 people, 18 people total between virtual and in person. And they took some of our critiques, our comments, questions, and then they're going to come back. The next meeting is January 24th, and that just deals with the athletic facilities. And again, it's going to be in person or virtual, and anybody can join us. And I have sent, I also have a list of people that have said, yes, they're going to be there. So, and that'll be same location, but again, it's virtual or in person. Biggest thing I want to talk about a little bit, we talked about it it was brought to my attention at the last couple of superintendents meetings from around the state that I've attended, and that's about electric buses. So the electric buses, we do have a 2027 mandate. New buses purchased or leased after 2027 and on must be electric. By 2035, all school buses must be electric. But there's some areas that haven't been discussed. I call them gray areas. It does say, what has not been discussed yet is the physical infrastructure that's going to be needed by every single district. Power grid capability in the area. They have also not decided what constitutes a school bus. We tend to think of a school bus as a type C, it's 44 passengers. Are they also thinking that is a type A or a small school bus? But they haven't, that is an infantile stage yet, because most of the things on those type A school buses are ADA compliant that run off of electricity, like the wheelchair lift. They haven't figured out how to put enough battery packs on those vehicles to get to everything to work. Price tag is a big difference. Right now, a brand new bus with a combustible engine is $125,000. An EV bus is running about $400,000 to $425,000.
I was going to say, that's going to affect people at school budget.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, they also currently can't reach some of our areas. There's a lot that they still need to work out.
Right now the range is 100 to 120 miles. So, our district is 105 miles. Now, that's in perfect weather. That's without running defrosters, heating, the windshield wipers, the arm, the lights, name it. So right now they're just saying is transportation costs could increase up to 3 times. Now, that's why I said there's a lot of gray area. I have a feeling just in the different meetings I've been in and talking to different people that 2035 timeline might get extended, because they don't know. I'll give you an example. Rochester City Schools, they did a pilot and they have 5 electric buses. So free, sounds great. They did the pilot. Those electric school buses, the EV buses, are currently sitting. They have yet to be used because the power company that supplies Rochester does not have the infrastructure. So yes, they have free buses, but they can't use them. So I do believe this will get kind of pushed down, but I do want to make people aware, everybody says 2027, that's 5 years. If you're looking at 2035, that's our kindergartners this year, their graduating year, and we kind of think, oh, that's so far down the road. It's not. So more information that comes our way, I will definitely give it to you. Next good thing, Eldred Junior Senior High School, PTA is back. Thank you to Mr. Conklin and Beth Dyerman. They have worked tirelessly. We now have a junior senior high school PTA. Summer school 2023. It will be pre-K through 6th grade. It will be in this building. High school students will have the opportunity to attend Sullivan County BOCES summer school program, because right now, for the number of students that attended our junior senior high school summer school, it's just not fiscally responsible for us to keep doing that. So if a high school child needs Regents credit, if they need high school credit, then they have the opportunity to go to Liberty for summer school, which we've done in the past. And, you know, right now, 472 students enrolled. Our attendance is 90.62%, so it's down, but we know right before Christmas, we got hammered with the flu. So it seems like that kind of has ebbed a little bit, and more kids are in school, and so we're just hoping that percentage increases. So again, you know, Amanda, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to have you. Congratulations. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Ferreira?
I have one question. If they're going to accept that and go to Liberty, are we busing them there, or the parents are responsible for taking?
Parents would be responsible.
And that's for summer school, correct?
Yes.
You're thinking about not having it here.
Right. The
Elementary?
elementary, pre-K through 6 will be here.
I was thinking the ones that are going to Liberty, like BOCES and stuff.
No, I mean,
Parents.
that, yeah,
No, the students that do, like, we call it extended school year, up to BOCES, we're actually working with Mr. Carpentieri and Miss England, our CSC chair. They're working together to see if we can have them housed here this summer instead of busing them up. And then that's also, that gets aidable back to us. And then that kind of saves us some money as far as transportation. And then we can reevaluate them and see if can we service them appropriately here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And what's the reason for doing away with the summer school in high school?
Well, the summer school and high school, one, we did not have a lot of students take advantage of it. And for what we were spending on teachers to teach it, it's just not, I don't consider it fiscally responsible. Plus, we actually were paying for it through our, and Caleb, correct me, it was the ARP funds?
Correct.
And they're going away. So
Okay.
it was paid for a grant, we didn't pay for it out of our pocket.
Okay, very good.
Mrs. Ferrer,
Thank you.
the children that are going to have trouble getting to summer schools, do you think we could come up with like a virtual option?
As far as transportation to summer school?
Yeah, like the kids that can't
We'd
get
have
to Liberty?
ask, again, that's where we'd have to ask and see if Liberty has that
Yeah.
option. We'd have to talk to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Conklin? No, Mr. Carpentieri, I'm sorry. You're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Halleck. So to piggyback off of what the superintendent has stated, our attendance has improved after the new year, but in December, especially in the elementary school with RSV, with the flu, with some cases of COVID as well, our attendance dropped pretty low. We are currently sitting at 91.8%, which is a decrease of 1.27% from the beginning of last month, which was December. I expect that number to finally increase this month. You have the percentages changed, which are all decreases, but those are all significantly less decreases from December to January than it was from November to December. Our new standard-based report cards were rolled out for our fall and our first trimester here at GRM. We've received positive feedback from parents about report cards and also about holding conferences prior to report cards being complete. Report cards are available to parents on December 13th, and they've begun to look into the parent portal to look at those report cards. Again, we're implementing really great reading here at GRM. Teachers have begun implementing the program pre-K through 5th grade, and now for next year we look forward and we see whether or not those 4th and 5th grade students have the acumen and their phonemic awareness in order for us to move on to the vocabulary component of really great reading. Summer school, as superintendent stated earlier, is going to be pre-K through 6th grade in this building here at GRM. We conducted summer school last year pre-K through 12th grade, but now it'll be pre-K through 6th grade, and we're looking forward to having those students again. It was a big success, and we saw some great results with our young students. State testing, we have our 3rd graders going through the computer-based testing simulation for math next Wednesday, January 18th, and our math and ELA state assessments, we prepare for them in April. Our winter enrichment clubs begin next week. This is the most amount of clubs we've been able to have and offer our students. We have 15 clubs for the winter, all provided by staff at GRM. And I expect to have close to 200 students of the 240 in a club, which is absolutely phenomenal. Odyssey of the Mind, the team has been practicing. They were selected, parents are notified, they are now practicing, and they have their competition on Saturday, March 4th at OU BOCES. I look forward to that. And our student council was elected as well. We've met a couple of times now, both in December and January, and we look forward to swearing them in February. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carpentier. Any questions from the board?
No, thank you.
Need to start bringing my glasses to the meeting, sorry. Mr. Conklin, you're
All
up
right.
now.
Thank you,
took it
Mr.
up, but I screwed that up, my bad.
That's okay. I think Mr. Carpentieri was dying to talk. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Halleck. So, attendance at the junior senior high school, we currently have 234 students enrolled as of 1/9. It seems it's, every time I turn around, there's a new student each week, so hopefully we keep going up. Our attendance percentage, as Mrs. Ferrer mentioned and Mr. Carpentieri, very rough in November and December. I myself got the flu, so it was a rough go. So our attendance was at 90.64%. The junior senior high school students completed their STAR testing today. We as I mentioned earlier in the year, we're doing that 3 times, the fall, the winter, and the spring. They did math and reading today, and it's just beneficial for the teachers to gauge, where the students are at, and, differentiate their instruction. I didn't think there was a lot of hiccups with it today, which was great, so that worked out well. We are continuing to meet with our scheduling consultant, who is named Elliot Marenblum. Our next step is me meeting with the department coordinators to see what courses they want to run. So kind of like their wish list, and then decide from there what interest the students have in the courses that we're offering, and even Mr. Marenblum has said, sometimes the small school are the most difficult schedules to make. And I think we're learning that because we have, we want to provide our kids with as many courses as possible, but we also want to fill our courses. So he's been very helpful, and a lot of people have sat in the meetings, and more will, and a lot of, stakeholders will have a say. As Mrs. Farah mentioned, we're excited to launch the newly established junior senior high school PTSA. We formed nomination committees and bylaws committees. They were established. I think our bylaws are in place. I think the next step is for myself and Mrs. Dearman to meet with the New York State PTA to discuss. It's a very long process, a lot of steps, but we're excited to meet with them, and then I think they gave us permission, and I think we're ready to roll. But a lot of people have stepped up for this, the JSHS PTSA, and I'm very happy because it's only going to help students. Regents testing will take place from January 24th to January 27th. School will still be in session. We have a total of 23 students taking an exam. Our biggest number is about 17, I believe, taking the ELA exam, and we're also offering geometry and earth science. We have the schedule out to all the students, so we're all set with that. The end of the second marking period and first semester is January 27th. So we're entering our second semester very soon here. All half-year courses will be done, and students will enter their second semester courses if they have one, if they are switching. And just a brief athletic update. The teams are rolling, and I know we have Mr. Grodick joining us tonight, which I'm kind of happy about. But I have to say, teams are winning. Basketball teams are winning. Our boys varsity won with their first game in I think two or 3 years. I hate saying that on camera, but they were so excited. Had a kid dunk, Trey Kaufman, 9th grader. It was awesome. Girls basketball doing good things from varsity to modified. In boys basketball, wrestling, they're going to tournaments. It's awesome. Things are happening. Track and field as well. After they get through all the security checkpoints at West Point, they go there sometimes. So, but I also want to say I'm very appreciative of everybody's help. These games are, no easy task, and organizing everything. I've had a lot of help from a lot of people, so I'm very appreciative for all that. That's pretty much it. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conklin. Any questions from the board members for Mr. Conklin? All good? Student report's not here, right? She's not here?
Yeah, she's not here. She sent me a brief email. There's her email said there's not much going on right now, because there isn't. There's a dance coming up on January 20th, I believe, for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Am I correct in saying that? Yes. That's at the junior senior high school. That's for fundraiser for the 8th grade class trip to Washington, D.C. And also there's a girls varsity basketball game tomorrow versus Livingston Manor that everybody's pretty excited about. But there's. As we enter, as we get through the winter and we enter spring, there's going to be lots and more stuff going on. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now that I got that all messed up there, we're good now. Director of Instructional Support, Mr. Krebs, you're up.
All right, Mr. Halleck. I've got 2 things for you. Kudos to Mr. Carpentieri for bringing in the Leader in Me program to our district, because this past Tuesday we had our first Lighthouse Leadership Team training. Alicia Latt came down from the Leader in Me staff, and she trained Liz Regan, Kim Guerin, Michelle Gallo, Bethany Englund, Aaron Startup, and Ryan Ward. So I'd like to thank them for participating in the training, and also Vanessa McWilliams. She is our SEL coordinator, so she is spearheading the Leader in Me group, what is called the Lighthouse team. So that team is putting in the training. We'll have 2 more trainings, half-day training for our staff at our February conference day, and another half-day at our March conference day. They'll learn a little bit about the 7 habits of highly effective people, and then we'll kick off the Leader in Me program in September for our students. So we're moving through the process of making sure that we're a Leader in Me school, and it's modeled for our kids and our staff. The other thing is that we have upcoming in March, there's some people that have suggested that they may be retiring, but we need to replace them if so. And there's a recruitment fair at SUNY New Paltz on March 15th, and there'll be recent graduates and those that are graduating from New Paltz, Marist, and Mount St. Mary's College participating. And we will be there to interview some potential hirees. So that's all I have for you right now.
Thank you, Mr. Krebs. Any questions from the board? Mr. Krebs?
Thank you.
Well, good, thank you. Mr. Russell, you're up.
Okay, so the first bit of news is I've got the preliminary tax cap figures. They're available. So it's looking like it's going to be right around 3%. That's 2%, which is based on inflation. Inflation was like 10%, but ours is capped at 2%. And then the other 1% is because of new growth. So that you wouldn't really hit your tax bill because the new buildings that were built would absorb that. But it's going to be right around 3%. It's not final, but I mean, it is going to be within 0.1% of that number. It's not going to change much. We earned $26,000 in interest for the month of December. I would expect that kind of earning to continue for January, February, March, April. Our account doesn't usually go down below $5 or $6 million until May or June. That's where most of our expenses are. That's where our bond payment is and all that kind of stuff. So that's where your bank account kind of gets drained until you get your money back in September. So I think we could probably end the year between $125,000 and $150,000 in interest, which is going to help us offset some of the increased costs from inflation. Our decision to choose variable rate pricing for our fuel oil is paying some dividends. When we were quoted a lock-in rate for fuel oil, it was we could have locked in at $4.41 a gallon. We just filled up 14,500 gallons at $3.33, which is actually a pretty good rate. It's better than what most people are paying. And it's about, that saves us about $15,578 over locking in. And we'll continue to see those savings. We're going to have to fill up probably another 21,500 gallons before the year's out. We are going out to fuel bid this month because fuel prices are pretty good right now. Oil is at like $74 a barrel. I don't think it's going to go much lower than that. And the U.S. energy markets, they're predicting that it's going to level out at around $80 some. So we think now is the best time to bid. Based on what our bid prices are, we'll decide whether we're going to fill our tanks up. With the exception of the elementary school one, because we're replacing it this summer, we're not going to be able to fill it up. So hopefully we get better rates. We might get a better rate because it's pretty low right now. Bethany's investigating the possibility of us starting Medicaid building. She's already done all the work on that. This is when a student gets OT, PT, or something like that would qualify, that is required medically. You can bill Medicaid for it, but you need to keep certain records. Now, Bethany says we're already doing it, so she's looking into it, and that can be a little extra source of cash there. We have one more good news, and then two more things to look out for in the future. TRS is going to go down next year. We're paying 10.29% of every dollar that we pay a teacher into TRS. That's going to go down to between 9.5% and 10%. The state hasn't finalized the number, but it'll be lower. That doesn't sound like a lot, but also superintendent, business official, we're on TRS, which some people don't know. So that's like $8 million of our $10 million in salaries are on TRS. So even 0.25% is $25,000. So if it goes down to 9.5, we'll save about 75 grand on TRS next year. The electric buses, just to touch on Tracy's thing, while we do think that they're going to extend it, we have two options that we're going to look into. One is I'm going to reach out to the people that we're leasing our buses from now to see what a purchase option would be, because it's only on new buses. That would be in 2027. So when our lease comes up in 2027, we're going to explore that. The other possibility is that we could take out a lease 2 months before the start of the 27-28 school year. And what we're talking about is working around so that we can have diesel buses instead of electric buses for as long as possible, because the infrastructure is going to be expensive.
I was just going to say, how much is it going to cost to get ready for these things?
Oh, it's going to cost a ton. There's no way they're going to be able to do it by 2027, but I'm just letting you know that we are preparing just in case they do force our hand. We're going to try to extend it as long as possible so that we can meet it. But like right now, we don't have the infrastructure for that at all. We have 3 runs that are longer than the bus's range.
I was just going to say.
So they wouldn't even be able to make it to their destination before they ran out of charge. But we're investigating into ways, again, when they say new buses, they mean brand new buses. So if we leased buses, and when they say 27, they mean the 27 school year, which is 26, 27. So if our lease is coming up June 27, we could maybe start a new lease May 2027. So we'd only have 1 month of overlap. But we get brand new diesel buses, which would allow us to go all the way to 2035, if they stuck with it. I strongly feel they're going to extend it, but we don't know. And then finally, and this one isn't good news, all the rest of the finance news was good, but our workers' comp is through the roof. I'm expecting that it's on the peak because we had a large claim, and it's based on a 5-year average of claims. The last 2 years, our total workers' comp claims were $35,000 and $45,000 respectively. But 3 years ago, there was a large one for $380,000, one for $180,000, one for $180,000. So in the next 3 years, it should go back down, but it has gone from $150,000 3 years ago to $240,000 a year today. So it's up to $240,000 this year. It was $220,000 last year, so it's up another $20,000. So that is on the bad news front. That will go back down because it's entirely based on your last 5 years worth of claims.
We're prepared for it.
But that's all I've got on finance news. It's budget season, so I've got a little bit more than I normally do.
Right. Yeah, it is budget season. Any questions for Mr. Russell from the board? I'll tell you, the buses scare me though.
They do.
Because if you take the double run here, and then you got to send the bus to Tri-Valley, doesn't get a chance to get, I mean, how long is it going to take to get them charged? Takes a car 45 minutes from what I hear.
We have one that goes out to the Westchester School for Exceptional Children.
Right,
Yeah.
That's a
But you're
daily.
saying a regular run.
I'm saying just a regular run. So you got a double run at night, and then you turn around, drive back over there, and you pick the kids up, and you run them to Tri-Valley, or you run them
you wouldn't.
to Florida.
That'd be tough.
Unless they have a charging station set up for it at the school.
So typically what our buses do right now is they got one bus does the high school, then the elementary. Each run is like 20 miles. So you're going to do 80 miles in the morning. You're going to have to charge before the afternoon.
Right, but what I'm saying is the afternoon run do that, and then turn around, load them up, and send them to Florida, and send them to Tri-Valley. It's going to be, and the expense of the infrastructure is scary. I mean, it's got to be.
We discussed it. It's something like what, 40,000 a charger or 50,000 per charger.
Per charger is.
But we don't have the electric, so we don't know what the cost would be to upgrade our electric to feed them, if that makes sense. But it's something we're discussing. We're looking into it.
Well, we got to be prepared for it. That's all I'm saying. If this is really going to happen, we can't start in the 2026 to prepare for 2027.
Oh, I agree.
So we're going to have to really look into it. See, it's going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt us.
Tracy and I have had already 2 or 3 meetings about it.
Good news, Gatorade. What's up with you?
Balance it out.
Well, I'm just trying to keep you ahead of it before the problem.
No,
I'm 5 years out. I don't want
That's
to.
why I'm sitting here with my wheels turning right now, because we can't start this. We need to start looking at this seriously.
I don't want to tell you 3 years from now, like, we got to have these things next month or we're done.
$1 million to get set up for this. So, all right. With all that negative news from Caleb, I'd like to welcome Amanda to the team. I think you're going to be great for us with your experience. She stole my thunder, but it's all good. But I'm looking forward to having you come aboard. Wish you could start tomorrow. I wish you could. But when are you starting?
I'll probably be here the 13th.
All right, very good. Other than that, I don't have nothing to say. I kind of sort of said about the buses and moving on. I'll take public comment on the consent agenda items only. No public comment? I do want to say thank you to everybody that worked on the bond and to the community that got the bond passed. That's going to be huge for us. I'm looking forward to that. With that being said, there'll be one change to the approvals, and that would be 8.04. It is the academic calendar. It's up for discussion. To look it over, we'll approve it in February. So just, you know, I'll entertain a discussion after we approve, or unless you guys want to discuss it now. Has anybody had a chance to look at it?
No.
Okay, so why don't we take a look at it and we'll approve it in February. What do you think? Sound good? All right, so I will take a motion to approve consent items 501 through 8.05, excluding 8.04. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Nancy, second by Kristen. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Old business come before the board. Any old business? Any new business? Second public comment on whatever we'd like to discuss. Anybody got any questions? You're here because you're being accepted as a sub, correct? Welcome. We always look forward to. You took my thunder again. Man, you had to jump in at that point. I think I looked at you. Eldred graduate, yes. Miss Labuda. All right, if we're good with everything, at this time, I will take a motion to enter in executive sessions about contract and personnel.
I'll make that motion.
What's the matter?
I didn't know if you voted on the stuff, but you must have.
Yeah.
I said all in favor,
Yes.
aye.
Yep, okay.
I'll make a motion from Amador, second.
I'll second.
Second from Kristen. Thanks for showing up, thanks for coming. And we'll see you, hold on. Next meeting will be held Thursday, February 9th, 2023 at the George Ross McKenzie, right here. We're holding them here until the sports basketball games are over.
That's the last.